I've written an introduction, Tim. Do you want to hear it?
What has you've written it? Yeah, go on.
All right. Who's Keith, by the way?
We'll get to Keith. Don't worry. We'll get to Keith.
Okay. Well, I've mentioned him in the introduction.
That's fine. Don't worry. Yeah, you can mention him. That's fine as long as there's no more details about any incidents. That's all fine.
No worries. The NDA is still in place. So. Welcome to this episode of Bite High No Limits Teletext People. In this episode, me and Dan Farrimond speak to Tim from @CFO. Tim's Twitter account, which is a pastiche on CFAX, is taking Twitter by storm with his humorous puns on TV listings from yesteryear. The episode is a part of our communities at Teletext Sofa Club, and Dan Farrimond has kindly let me use the audio from his YouTube stream, which you can get at Illiterate, which is his YouTube channel. Links, as ever, are in the comments. Introducing Tim and Keith. Tim is a writer, dog and cat owner. Keith is a demon on the badminton court. However, you may be one of the 3,933 followers that know these better as CFO, dubbed marvellous by TV quiz hardwoman Victoria Cora Mitchell, and also mentioned in dispatches by alleged funny man Nish Kumar. We introduce you tonight, the Sofa Club, to Keith and Tim of CFO.
Hello. Good to have you here.
It's slightly more followers since you did that. So we're up to 4,200. No, 3 people have just left, which is fine.
Hold on, let me start that again then. No, it's
4299. 4299. Let's try that. Basically, just all blah 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 blah. 4299. That's brilliant. Thank you. Oh, it's a lovely instruction. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for getting the number right. That was very kind. Cheers.
Yeah, that was it. Well, it was right last night when I was like slaving over that script. So you know, it goes to show, obviously, you are, quite honestly, you are actually gaining quite a substantial following. So, with the love of, CFAX, and to anybody who's just hopped on because they love Sofa Club and they don't know who you are, Tim, we better explain what your website is. Would you like to explain in your own words what you do?
So I guess CFO is it's a two-prongy thing. One is it's a bit of a celebration of CFAX, very particular CFAX, not teletext. There's people, you do a teletext. No, I run a CFAX site. Very, very distinct differences there. And then really it's about doing some TV listings. So trying to do some humorous TV listings, trying to do 2 new ones a day with a repeat at lunchtimes, and just trying to basically bring a little bit of a smile to Twitter, because the smile has disappeared over the last year or so. And just started it off the back of a piece of fun that I did with some friends a couple of years ago, where they were doing a Friday night live stream. Chap called John Rain, who runs a thing called Smirsh Pod, and his friend Paul Litchfield, both very, very funny guys. They were doing a lot of sketches during lockdown, Friday night, 2 hours, really good fun. I started just sending them videos. They started getting involved, and I started trying to come up with stuff that would resonate with the audience. And I just dug into my memory bank, and one day just thought, I should go and look at some CFAX. And I started just watching CFAX for like 2 hours on YouTube. I thought to myself, there won't be any sad people who do anything like this. And then what I realized was that I could probably take that format and do something with it, mainly because it's quite easy to copy and paste. I'm not particularly good on the technical side of things, but having found a CFAX editor and then just being able to kind of paste it and do stuff with it, done it from there. Yeah, it's got really popular and people really like it, and I get lovely messages. And I've only had one complaint, and that was just a misunderstanding where someone thought I was having a go at a particular group of people when I was actually having a go at Skeletor, the villain from He-Man. So I don't know whether they were big Skeletor advocates or not, whether that was the problem. But no, it's been brilliant, and the likes of you guys have got in touch. But it's incredible, just people get involved and have fun. It's just really nice. It's fun doing it, and if it makes one person laugh, then that's great. But it's making lots of people laugh, so that makes me happy.
So what sort of, when you said you were staring at the teletext and things like that, was it like TV listings was something you thought of straight away, sort of like a portmanteau of the TV listings and some puns in there, or what, did you consider any other ideas beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching a lot of comedy, and I got into Charlie Brooker quite early on. And Charlie wrote some of his early columns, TV Go Home, which was basically taking the radio times and then turning that into just nonsense TV shows, highly sweary at times, but just sort of really enjoyed that, and then thought, actually, I could probably do something similar. So just started and sat down, thought, right, can I write one of these? And when you write one, you then start writing loads. Before I know, I had about 20 of them in an hour. I thought, this is actually quite good fun. So kind of went from there, and then put it away for ages. Didn't think, we just did that for one night. 30, 40 people liked it. Put it away for ages, and then just last year, I just thought I should give that a go on Twitter and see what happens. Started off with one follower, someone who'd seen it before, and then it kind of grew from there. Yeah, and we're over 4,000 now, so it's brilliant. And the fact, I say, people are lovely and people get in touch and say really nice things, and you just get messages saying, "Oh, I was having a rubbish day, and then I laughed out loud at that. So thanks very much." And if that's what we're doing, that's great.
Yeah. So hopefully through the course of this evening, we will have people on the Discord and on the YouTube. We do have our man in the dugout, Dan, over there. So what have you got to add there, Dan?
Well, Reese, Dr. Reese. Hi, Dr. Reese. He asks, in fact, he says, I have a CFO entry for your critique.
Oh, blimey, Charlie. Okay, well, by all means, yeah, go for it.
A complete writer's block for any of the CFO competitions, but I might submit. Type it here if you want. So 0600, the Channel 4 Daily. Champion decathlete in a failed attempt to set up his own cable offering. Posh sacks and bizarre blinds failed to set the ratings alight. Meanwhile, Tessa Sanderson and Fatima Whitbread buy the house next door and get a huge commission.
So critique-wise, Reese, I think, first of all, you've managed to successfully identify that most of our audience are somewhere between the ages of 39 and 49. So you've hit that sweet spot of, let's do a Daley Thompson's 1980s reference. So that's good. You've livened it up by taking the Channel 4 Daily and turning that into a pun straight away. Pun, tick, job done. You could have rested there. You could have stopped. You could have just said, I'm done for the night, guys. I'm off out. But actually what you've done then is you've added in some more details. You've added posh sacks and bizarre blinds. Nice. You're building an image. It's good. You're world building. It's lovely. And then you've thrown in Tessa Sanderson and Fatima Whitbread. I say thrown in because they're, of course, both javelin throwers. I think what you've done there is you've really... Listen, as far as I'm concerned, that would certainly get put into our idea pile.
Oh, excellent. Well, Reynard City Update channel. He says, CFO is fucking brilliant, which brings me on to one of my questions. Have you ever accidentally misspelt CFO without the A and published it? So you can probably guess what that might be.
No idea. No idea. I mean, that'd be ridiculous. That'd be like taking the word "see" and "facts," spelling facts incorrectly, and jamming them together in a random way. That when you explain to people that's what CFAX is, they go, "No, it's not. It is. It's generally CFAX." But I was really conscious when we started this that I wanted to be as CFAXy as possible without being CFAXy, mainly because I didn't want to get sued, because I don't know how litigious the CFAX community is. They could probably write you really big letters, but only to a certain amount of characters. And so I looked at whether CFAX was a Twitter handle, and it wasn't. And then I was just sitting around, I thought, just make it faux, a faux as in false. And then I realized, of course, after it kind of developed a bit of a following, it's really hard to explain to people how to pronounce it and say it. We've made a bit of a mistake there. But no, we've never done that. We haven't done that at all. That's one of the basics we always make sure is to get our own name correct. But thanks very much for your question. Interesting nonetheless.
How many, when you started the channel up, did you sort of like have a few in abeyance waiting to come out? How many did you write before you said, I'm going to make a thing of this?
So if I turn to my other computer here, I had written, so the original one I did was 4 proper pages as if they were listings through an evening with about 4 on each one. So I had about 16 to start with. And when I did it, I made it as a video and I stuck proper CFAX music under it. So I had about 16 to start with. So I thought I'll start with that. And then what I thought was, I could do 3 of these a day. This will be easy. And after about a month, I nearly died trying to do 3 a day. And I realized this is insane. Why am I trying to do it? But what's really weird is that once you start doing it, you kind of get a bit of a head of steam. But no, I think the original 16 and the first one I ever wrote was Snooker from Jupiter. Experimental sport using computers to simulate classic snooker finals as if they were played on other planets in the solar system. Will Dennis Taylor still win the 1985 World Championship if both he and Steve Davis and all the equipment are 252.7% heavier than on Earth? And I did that, and then the second one I ever wrote was Zack Snyder's Dinner Batman, which is a gritty slow motion cookery contest. And yeah, they just kind of come, you kind of get them, and it's fun. And people laugh, and sometimes people don't laugh. That doesn't matter as long as it makes you laugh. Some of the funniest ones that me and some of my team have come up with have made literally no one laugh at all, but we will just laugh at them senselessly.
So you mentioned your team there. Who else is there helping you out?
I don't have their permission to grant their names, but we do have a series of what we like to call people who come up with ideas. Some of them will come up with full-blown ideas and we'll send them around our little group chat system. Someone will literally just send me maybe a line or the idea. I've got one writer just sent me the phrase anal partridge, and I've got to do something with that basically. So that's fine. And then I've just got some other people, and we have had more people come along who have sent ideas and stuff like that, which is why we started to do the competitions. And what's nice is that people do genuinely think about them. And one of the things we try and do is not make them too obvious if we can. It's don't just change the word cook for the word cock. That's quite easy to do. The cock report, can't cock, won't cock, that kind of thing. It's those sort of things which, you can do that once or twice, but actually do something that's a little bit off the wall and stuff like that. And sometimes you think no one's going to get this, or you do when you think it's a bit throwaway, and then you find hundreds of people like it. So there's a few people out there doing stuff. We don't go out and solicit and say, can you send us ideas, because literally the amount we've had this last competition, we just got swamped by them. But it's nice to showcase what everyone's doing. So you're running your competition at the moment, and I think you're having to show 3 finalists a day for a month. Four a day for 2 weeks. So we had over 200. And I would say about 150 of those were usable. Some of them were filthy. Some of them clearly, when I said don't swear, thought that meant swear as much as possible.
And mention people that you don't want to mention.
That's right.
So I imagine there's a few this morning presenters that probably
it's been fun. What's lucky is we kind of just closed it just around about the time after that Schofield stuff had finished. We'd done one already, which was Dancing on Thin Ice, presented by Philip Schofield, which we put out sitting in the computer. We put out the night that it all broke, and that got to 1,000 views in about 3 days. Like, wow, that's brilliant. And that brought on about 500 people in terms of followers. But you try and maybe do something that's funny and satirical, and it doesn't quite work, and then you do something that is just totally insane. One we did a while back was Good Gellers, which was Martin Scorsese's gangster epic performed entirely by amateur ventriloquists. It was literally a throwaway gag, and my phone didn't stop pinging all day. It was just like, this is brilliant, and we were just getting passed around people and stuff like that. Someone sent it to me saying, have you seen this? I said, yes, I have seen this. I wrote it. But it's weird. It's just what you find out. There's some things you think are funny that aren't funny, and then some things you think aren't funny, which turn out that people actually like them. No one likes Mrs. Brown's Boys. I've understood that, so that's fine. So we can do jokes about that, and that's all right.
There's no brown in teletext, so it's a bit.
No, there isn't. No, I've been playing with all the colours. It's lovely, and isn't that amazing? That you think that's all they had to work with on CFAX, and you see like the designs that Dan does and stuff like that. And I remember the pictures I used to look. Reveal. Oh wow, look at that! That's fantastic. And limited amount of colours. We are spoilt these days, and I think that's one of the good things about CFAX. I remember is that you only had that space, that amount of colours, so you had to be quite creative and original, and that's what I kind of love about it.
Okay. Well, I've got stacks of questions here, and I'm leaving poor Dan out. So Dan to my right, what have you got for us, mate?
Well, I have one question before we go back to the chat, because
of course, Dan,
people are chatting away, and it relates to what you just said. What program do you use to create your images?
You obviously realizing I've got a high-tech supercomputer I'm using it on, and I'm definitely not. The first time I did this, someone had made a site called Jelly Text. I don't know if you ever saw that. So this guy made it's brilliant. He's put it in and it displayed it for you. And then for some reason, whether or not he had overcapacity or something, that just went. So I looked around and I found the thing I use is ZX Net.
Ooh,
so so literally, I played with it first time around, got it, and then it's nothing as I literally copy that. I paste it into PowerPoint and I play around with it and I frame it up and stuff like that, and then I put it into the site, and then of course I have to write all the alt text. Someone after about 2 weeks said, "Oh, could you do alt text?" I thought, "Yeah, of course I can." So I basically have to do all the CFOs twice. So it's literally cut and paste. I'm not a designer, I'm not a coder, but I'm a really good copy and paster.
Well, we do have some people in chat. Martin is here. He's obviously
Martin,
a big fan.
yes.
He
Yes,
says,
yeah.
CFO is a feel-good channel for one's timeline.
No, hello, Martin. Martin was one of the original people who saw the original CFO stuff that we did a couple of years back, and he's always been very supportive. He also won one of our competitions once, totally, and I think we only had about 30 entries that time round, and he sent in competition entries every time. Martin is the undisputed king of the most tortured puns you could ever come up with. He's an actual genius at it. He really is, and I'm sure he won't mind me embarrassing him by reading you some of the entries that he put in that didn't get in this time round. So here we go. Let's have a look here. So the one he put in, which you've seen, is Sense and Sensei Billy D. The Star Wars actor explores the place of smells in the practice of martial arts. About 40 views, unlucky Martin. Saturday Kitchen this week. Michael Kitchen attempts a souffle. He's a very, very funny man, and he's the owner of one of the 3 in the world, limited edition because they cost too much, CFO mugs that we have created. So hopefully he hasn't drunk from it, because we never actually tested whether the lead was a problem in the bottom of the mug.
And does he get that engraved every year when he wins it, Tim? Or
I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't engrave it, to be honest. I think it's quite thin, and certainly don't engrave it if you've got liquid in it. To be honest, don't put liquid in it. Apart from that, so don't put liquid in it and don't touch it. And it's a great mug. It really is.
It's a great mug, provided you don't use it as a mug. Yes.
Well, we do have some more questions from chat, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Jamie Namath asks, "Oh, I have a genuine question," which is nice. Do you find that the constrained page size / length, line length, changes how you write? In my relatively few experiments, I find it does. You reword things to look better.
Jamie, yes, absolutely. And this is actually one of the great things about teletext and CFAX in general, is that when we were looking at years ago, you literally had that space to work with. So you had to be really tight on what you did. When they used to put on, a news story, you literally get 3 paragraphs and that was it. And to be honest, that's all you needed. And the skill was in getting all that on that page. So actually you could look at it and that's fine. These days, you can go and, I want to read an article or something. 1,000 reasons why lemons are great. I said, I don't want to read 1,000 reasons why lemons are great and stuff like that. Or 2 million reasons why you shouldn't go outdoors. Actually giving that little smaller space, you've got to work with it. You've got to really make it work hard. And there's lots and lots of times we'll do stuff and we physically can't fit it on. And I've had a few CFO entries that came through and they would have filled a page, and it's just right, what can we do? And what's fun is trying to write it and then go back, right, that's 3 words. What's a funnier 1 word for that? Or what makes that kind of work better? So actually constraining it is actually one of the beauties of it. And I think it makes it a bit funnier. So if you've only got a certain amount of space to do it in, you've got to be quite tight on the words you can use. And sometimes, because you're trying to get the line lengths right and not leave a big gap, you might end up actually, I've got a really long word, I've got to turn it into a smaller word. And actually that makes it funnier. So so it is, and it is hard to do. I think a lot of people have found that sending them in is that, people go, I had to do 3 of them. Oh, that was really hard to write 3 of them. It took me a week to do it. Yeah, I've done 960 so far. So writing 3 is tricky. Try 960 and try sitting here with 2 minutes to go before the next one needs to go live, and you haven't got one written. And that's living life on the edge. That's quite exciting, though.
Well, what do you do in that case? Do you just switch on the television and see what's on and say, look at the EPG and look at that, rosemary and thyme. Oh yeah.
Actually, what's really hard, right, is I go to what's on TV now, and you read it, and it's all really dull stuff, or it's all stuff we've done before. Sometimes just the panic of, It's a total fake panic. Oh my God, it's in 2 minutes I've got to get one, or else 4,000 people are sitting there waiting for it. No, they're not. But your brain just goes into overdrive sometimes. And genuinely, I'm not saying it's a good idea. I took a load of Pro Plus one day, right, and I wrote 40 of them in an hour. All right, I didn't sleep for about a week. But sometimes you just kind of get that and it kicks off really, really nicely. But yeah, I mean, I usually write as many as I can in advance, get them set up, and then if I'm out and about or have an idea, I might shout something into a phone or scrawl it on a bit of paper, or I might leave a bit of paper by the side of the bed. And if I wake up and a bit of paper's there, I just pretend the idea wasn't funny and just forget about it. So it's fun. It's challenging. It's fun. I'm not saying I'm as brave as a doctor or a fireman. I'm not saying that. Other people might, but it's a good laugh. And having that constraint and having that little bit of I've got to get 2 or 3 of these written, that actually makes it a little bit more. You got to push yourself on a bit. There are some kind of backup ones we've got which we've never used, which are really rubbish. Which, if push comes to shove. But I don't mean if I was pushed down a lift shaft by being shoved. But if we really needed them, we could probably put them on. But yeah, just trying to come up with new ones all the time. I have reached a few points where I thought there are literally no more listings I can do. I cannot come up with any more. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to say to people, do it. And then all of a sudden I have 20 ideas, or someone sends me something and we kind of spin off from there. And again, I looked at the entries that came in for the competition, and there's all these ones. Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of "Are you being severed"? Why didn't I come up with that at all? All these sort of things. You think all the jokes are gone, and then you realise that actually maybe there are some more jokes out there, and people are always making new shows, so you can kind of steal off those.
Sarah has a question for you in Discord, if you don't mind. She asks, you mentioned posting topical ones, so obviously there isn't much time to get them out. But how long does it normally take from initial idea to being posted?
Initial idea, so 10 seconds have idea, ZXNet, type it out in about 2 minutes, copy and paste it into PowerPoint. You can do it in about 5 minutes normally. If you've got a really, really good idea and want to do something, you can kind of get out of there. We tend to stick to 9 and 5, and then if I'm on computer at night doing something and then something comes up, I can put it on or something like that. But yeah, you can do them that quickly. They might not be that funny, but if you want to hit the topical ones, like the one that went off for this morning, that worked quite well. And we did a couple for like the Champions League or something like that. And again, you're trying to hit those ones whereby you think that might be trending, so you stick the hashtag down. It very, very rarely works, but sometimes it just catches people, and you just think that works quite nicely.
Is that how you managed to get up to 5,000 subscribers from about 500?
It started with none, and then we kind of got to about 900 in about 3 months, and then I was catastrophically ill for a month, so I stopped. And then I thought I'll leave it alone. People would have gone away, and I came back after a month, and everyone was still there. So I thought we'll just try it again, and then it gets in fits and starts. And some days you'll add 100, 150. Something's just gone viral. Someone big has tweeted. Some people have got like 250,000 followers, and often you'll see them. Yeah, they've liked that one. What, you liked it? If you just retweeted it, that would be lovely. Please, if you liked it, retweet it. I'm going to laugh this, but I'm not going to tell anyone I laughed at it. That kind of thing. And we got a really hardcore set of Formula One fans. I think there's a guy who's like a big guy in Formula One who tweeted 1 or 2 out, and then all of a sudden we've got this massive section of Formula One fans, and we've done like 2 Formula One jokes. That's been about it. But yeah, it's weird how it just kind of happens like that. But yeah, I'm amazed at how many people want to follow it and how many people want to just get involved. As I say, we had to close the competition early this time because it was just getting silly. I couldn't do any work because I was just getting non-stop, ridiculously good ideas going through.
And some crap ones as well.
Some utter crap as well. Yeah, I'm not going to go through the ones that you sent us, but actually, no. I think what you sent through, Carl, you sent through one that got into the final, which is good. And the fact that people have a go at it. I mean, I did get one, and I'll quote this to you. One guy just sent me a DM that just said, "Let's have a look here." I've got this word for word. He sent this to me. He said, "Britain's got talons, something to do with birds. Perhaps I'll let you figure it out. Respect." So it's good. Yeah, thanks very much indeed. It's like we needed some help. But again, people have ideas. To be honest, there's nothing really bad that comes in unless people write at the end of it with hilarious consequences, which is like literally we have a sign on the wall that says if anyone writes hilarious consequences, they will not be allowed to do anything ever again. That's what happened to the guy who we just unplugged that monitor from.
Yeah. Oh no, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So, do you have very bruised legs where you kick yourself, where you publish one and you think, if I just gave that 3 more minutes, I could have put a different one up that was in your own mind funnier? What I mean by that is I'll send you an entry for something, and then I'll be driving down the A12 the next day thinking about it and going, no, great anal journeys or something like that. And you think, it's too late.
There are ones that you do and you think that was funny, and then you publish it, and then half an hour you do get that. There was a better joke for that. And sometimes we have done some, thought of the better joke, thought we'll leave that a couple of months and we'll do it again. We'll see how that one kind of lands. And I've put some up sometimes, like within a month of each other, almost the same joke. First time around gets nothing. Second time around you change one word, gets 250 people loving it and stuff like that. But no, there are some of those things you do. But the fact you're doing so many all the time is means you kind of you do one, you get on with the next one. You celebrate the ones that go well, the ones that don't go so well you don't really mind about. There were so many entries that came in from people, and I started thinking, if I tweak this would be brilliant. Like one guy did one about yesterday. I really liked it. It was called Hatch of the Day. It was a match of the day, but coverage of hens sitting on eggs, which immediately is a great image. And Hatch of the Day, fantastic, which is just good. And I just thought to myself, the joke surely is Gary Lynn Egger. That's the joke, Gary Lynn Egger. Just put Egger to start with. And I was there. Should I? And then I thought to myself, no, because if I do that, I should really probably. Anyone else who sends stuff in, I should try and amend it for them. And again, some other people have done stuff, and I think there's that you change that one word, like I think Jamie said earlier. If you just change that particular word, it will make it even funnier. So it is hard, but as I say, we're not saving lives here. We're not operating on people. We're not developing vaccines. We're not anymore. That was stopped after a couple of weeks. So we're just having fun here. But there are definitely some times where I thought, we could have done better there. It's nearly always a joke about the Fast and the Furious as well. I think I've done about 10 Fast and the Furious jokes now, and every time I think I've got a better one next time. And 10 times now, that's 10. That was 5, 2 5s. 10 times Vin Diesel has not responded to us, which is very disappointing.
Well, I think there's about 10 cracks at the same film anyway, so you're allowed to have a few cracks on that.
Yeah, one per film, exactly right.
That's it. Yeah, no, I like that. I see that crack in action from around the coops. Well,
it's good, and it's really nice here. And what you then want to do is start thinking, right, what can I come up with in terms of egg-based football puns and stuff like that? Do you do Liverpool versus Egerton? I don't know, that kind of thing. Do you? And then you suddenly find yourself just down that pun route. Yeah. And to be honest, that one I thought it was fun. I just like the image of that one. It's just great. The fact that I also thought Micah Rich Eggs made me laugh as well, and Chris Satom. So it was good. So anyone who wants to have a go with it, I think it's great to see people doing it, and I've loved reading all the entries that come through, even yours, Carl.
Oh well, that's it. We're all here to make everyone happy.
Yes, absolutely.
But it is funny though, because there's a competition coming up, and you go, oh right, okay, I'm going to think of something. Well, I can't think of anything now because there's a competition on. When the competition finishes, you go, oh well, you could use this, you could use that. So you probably have a lot of people that just send stuff in and go, look, just use it, because it's one of them, isn't it? Because once you forget it, it can disappear for good.
I have found scraps of paper in the drawer in the office here that just have like 3 words written on them, because that was an idea I had last September. I literally have no idea. They look like, when they find they're trying to find a serial killer, but they can't find him, but they find his house and all the diary entries just have random stuff and stuff like that. It's like that. There's just a drawer full of just random words. Yeah. If ever I were to die and someone were to look in there, they just go, he's insane. It was absolutely insane.
You're that guy in Seven that used to
that sort of thing. Yeah, exactly right. Is it? Yeah. So there's probably some again, the stuff you think might be really good, and then you look at it a couple of days later and think that's awful. I've written one that I haven't used, and it's sitting somewhere to be done, and it was sitting so long that eventually someone else did the joke on Twitter, and I thought, I should have used that one. I should have used it. But sometimes you just think I should just stop for a minute No one's actually pressuring me to do this. And then if I stopped one day and someone got in touch saying, is everything all right? You didn't do one today at 5 o'clock. I thought, oh, blimey, you're checking up on me.
It's a bit of special code one that come up. It's sort of like your
Yes,
emergency broadcast service come up. I'm
if you see
holiday.
that one come up, then you know that for God's sake, he's in real trouble. That's right.
It used to be the Pink Panther show when I was a lad. They always used to show that if they were running too quickly for whatever reason. They go, "It's the Pink Panther show," and they just run that for a bit.
We had the Marvel film Black Panther versus Pink Panther, which was where the Pink Panther, where Black Panther has to stop the invader of the Pink Panther, who is not only coming to steal the vibranium, but he's got wet and then he's been blow dried, which makes him go all furry and he floats up in the air. And that was just an image we had one night, and but no one liked that. So that was forget about that one.
It did have a cartoon appended on it at the end by Crazy Legs Andy Crane.
Crazy Legs Crane, right? Crazy Legs Crane is one of those characters where you go, there can't possibly be a worse character to have in the middle of the Pink Panther. You want to just get rid of him, put the Pink Panther in, and then they brought in that anteater. Instead, right? Okay, and then you realised the Crazy Legs Crane. That was like, if I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Is that? But could we go back to the crane because this anteater? I want to kill him, which is fine. I never understood why they did that. Why did you? It's got the Pink Panther show, and then in the middle some crap.
So so what we got down there in the teletext dugout then?
Well, first of all, I just looked at the top of the chat messages, and it says top chat, and I couldn't help but think that is top chat. It's a CFO waiting to happen.
Or boss chat.
Top chat.
Yeah, we had to grow up with the old boss cat thing, understanding that if we all watched a show called Top Cat, we would, even if we didn't have cats, we would go out and demand our parents buy Top Cat the food, so we had to call it Boss Cat. It's weird. When you go back now, you go on YouTube and see that the full original version, it's like uncovering a lost Da Vinci or something like that to see what it actually finished like.
It's like, it's been brought up on a diet of hero turtles and boss cat. We've just been lied to all our lives, Tim.
Absolutely, yeah. That's right. Or watching Battle of the Planets, and then when someone shows you what Battle of the Planets is based on, and you actually realise that the bits we used to cut away, and they would go, well, they're all fine. That was where they were brutally hacked to death.
Oh right, okay, yeah. I remember that Battle of the Planets. Was that G-Force? That was on before Superstore, wasn't it? No, Swap Shop. That was on before.
Battle of the Planets, which every now and again cuts away to a cute robot called Seven's Arc 7, which when you're watching as a kid, and he goes, well, it looks like they're fighting the giant robot. I hope it works out fine. And it cuts back to the action. And what you don't realise when you're a kid is that's from the Japanese Gatchaman anime show, which basically was about a bunch of killer orphans fighting a transsexual alien who would send giant robots to kill billions of people, and they would just cut out the bits where everyone was killed, and they put the robot in going, everything was all right, don't worry about that. So when you finally realise what it's like, it's quite disturbing.
All that last bit, you weren't making any of that up, Tim?
No, not at all. No, and in fact, and we came up. We did come up with Cattle of the Planets, which was a show where basically an entire race of cows have to take on that. That worked quite well, and someone did a trans moot gag about that, which was quite nice. So that was good.
Excellent. Yes,
well, Reynard City Update channel has posted a lot of questions in the chat, but I believe he sent one in before the show.
He did, didn't he? He did. I know, and I've looked at his question. Have you got it there, Dan, or not? Because it was quite long. I remember.
I believe Carl has it to hand.
Oh,
he's just searching for it.
Yeah, I've got it. I've done an answer.
Cool.
I've done an answer. So the question was.
Yeah. Because he wants me to show working, I believe, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. So if Timmy was 5 oranges and Jenny is 5 meters,
5 meters,
how long would it take for the train to get to lower stuff without the grain eating the hen? Brackets. If X equals ham and Mercury is in retrograde, please remember to show your working.
Okay. Retrograde. Okay. Yeah.
All
yeah.
right,
I think.
okay.
Yeah. Well, I've got an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it comes in 3 parts. First of all, you can't dig half a hole. Secondly, survivors aren't buried. And thirdly, he's a dwarf and he has an umbrella with him on what days it's raining. So that means he can reach the higher buttons on the lift. He can't reach them on the days it's not raining. So that's probably my answer. I have done some. I know he did say show you working, so I have got some working here that I've done for him, which is fine. So don't know. So that's police, and that's a skull.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and find
there's
him.
There's a cry for help in the corner there. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. But just to let you know, Rob, that I have done the working for you there, and I'll be posting that through your door at 3 a.m. and also ringing you up and just humming down the phone.
Yeah, don't stamp it out because it'll have a dog poo in it as well. But
I had a friend who once rang up his craft design teacher at 2 a.m, and when he answered, he just yelled at him, "You got all your angles wrong," and hung up. So that was nice.
Oh, crikey, that's it. That's living the job. So,
absolutely.
Speaking of which, though, with your quiz question, what is the connection between Victor, Corin, Mitchell? Are you actually going to try and go for this the world's hardest quiz?
So a couple of years ago, some friends and I did audition, and we put in the application form, and we just filled it in. You might have to go for it, and we got an audition for it, and it was all on Zoom. So we got on there, and I turned up dressed like this. A friend of mine turned up just totally normal, and then our other turned up totally formally dressed with a bow tie. So we did the whole audition. It was quite tricky because you couldn't be in the same room as each other. And about 3 months later, we heard, "No, you haven't got it." So, "Oh, never mind." And we said, "Oh, we won't do it again the next year." So they put the applications out, and then we got an email saying, "Hello, we really liked your audition last year. Would you audition again, please?" We thought, well, they've asked us. So we all went on again. This time, my friend didn't wear the bow tie. We all went on, and we all thought, we've got to be really kind of, excited and interesting and stuff like that. I got a bit excited and shouted out answers a little bit too much, and then they didn't get back to us again. And then when they started actually running the next show, they said, "Oh, you didn't get on that one." I said, "Well, we probably realised because we can see that it's on TV now. And we'd know if we were on TV because we'd have filmed being on TV." So we thought we're not going to do it again next year. Unless, of course, they email us and say, "We really like you, why don't you go for it again?" I think they're just trying to kind of embarrass us every single year. And they gave us test questions, which were like from the final. So they were, "Oh, what connects this? X, Y, Apple." I was like, "Oh, no idea whatsoever," and stuff like that. But yeah, it was fun. But then we still did a few Only Connect ones on, because Only Connect kind of, it's a good hashtag to get going on a Monday night. Never search the Only Connect hashtag, however, because other people have worked out that people looking for Only Connect. So you will find of 10 Only Connect hashtags, 8 of them will be about the show. 1 will be about someone who really hates Only Connect and is swearing. And the 10th one will be a naked lady who's put hashtag Only Connect and also put hashtag The Chase. And there's a woman who just puts all possible quiz things on and stuff like that, But yeah, so we did a few on there. And then one Victoria picked up and she said it was marvellous. Yeah, she liked it. Retweet it, Victoria, retweet it.
No, can't press retweet. That's it.
No, exactly not. No, because that would mean you were kind of, that was representing the views of the BBC. But off the back of that, we got a couple of hundred people who obviously follow her retweet, follow her likes and stuff like that. So that was nice. So yeah, we've stolen that and put it at the top of our CFO banner because she's probably the most famous person who actually commented.
Yeah, no.
Richard Osman never gets back to us, but apparently that's because we are far too small and insignificant, and he never will.
He's too tall and significant.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly. That's right. Yes.
But is his brother play bass in Suede? Is that the
Matt Osman? That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you see him on TV and like in old Suede things, you just think, "That looks like Richard Osman." What's he doing there?
That's it. Yeah.
Pointless. Totally pointless.
Pointless.
So many pointless entries the first time we did a competition. It's like every other one was a pointless joke or something like that. Like pointless celebrities. A show where the celebrities are pointless. But yeah, I think that joke's been done approximately 8 million times now. But nice that people want to send it in.
They even do that on the show itself.
They do, that's right. So they're basically repeating a joke that even the show knows is a joke. So they're just sending it out as well. They might just send in a show called Pointless, where celebrities have to answer questions and get the lowest score possible. Just describe the show. That would probably be a little bit more original.
If that flew out the sky and landed on the ideas people's desks in the 1980s, they'd have gone, nah, that'd never work. What we need is another 3, 2, 1 or another bullseye, But it is amazing how the premise of these quizzes work. I mean, you go back to Only Connect. I mean, that's just torture to watch. I mean, I go, I'm gonna watch this, and it's sort of like, you've picked the snake thing, bing, bing, bing. Oh, it's a music round, and like sometimes you're convincing your wife that you got it right. I got that one, and you did. You sort of guessed it and got it right, but I didn't show me workings out.
What's quite nice is that ITV have clearly cottoned on that people like clever quizzes. So ITV have now created the 1% Club, which is kind of lateral thinking, but put Lee Mack on it. And it's odd because it's the most un-ITV show in some ways, because the questions are not like, what is this? Is it a cat? That sort of thing. And they're actually quite tricky and stuff like that. But you can see them trying to give it a quick. My favourite Only Connect thing is that the letters at the start used to be Greek letters. And they got letters from someone saying it's very pretentious, you just doing Greek letters all the time. Why are you doing that? So I said that's fine. So they changed it to Egyptian hieroglyphs instead. So there you go. So we're not so pretentious. We can't shift from Greek to Egyptian.
It's very dynamic. What a dynamic show. That's it. There. Anyway, I did an answer for this chap.
Oh, what was your answer? Did you show your working as a question?
Well, this might touch on to another subject that I want to come on to in a moment there, Rob. Because we can't just all have fun here. We might have to talk about the serious stuff. So let me give you the workings. Right. Okay. So if we remember, Timmy, blah, 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 5 oranges, blah, blah, blah. So to calculate the time for the train to reach Lowestoft with the grain, without the grain eating the hen, while considering X equals ham and Mercury in retrograde, we need to engage in some truly magical mathematics. First, we convert Timmy's 5 oranges into a time called orange seconds. Since an orange is round and often rolls away, we assume it's the equivalent of 3 seconds. So Timmy's 5 oranges becomes 15 seconds. Next, we utilize Next, we utilize Jenny's height of 5 meters as a measure of cosmic importance. Using ancient formula involving oranges, hens, and train tracks, we convert her height into a unit called hen hops. Each hen hop represents 0.1 seconds of time. You got Rob Turner to thank for this. Now we factor in X equals ham, which clearly denotes that ham is delicious. Unfortunately, ham is a notorious time warping effects on trains, according to complex calculations performed by esteemed hamologists. Every slice of ham consumed by a train causes it to travel back in time precisely 0.01 seconds. So, are you with this, Rob? I hope he's on here. Finally, we consider the impact of Mercury in retrograde, an astrological phenomenon known for wreaking havoc on all earthly endeavours. To quantify this, we assigned a coefficient of minus 0.001 time dilation per Mercury retrograde day. With all these components, we can apply a series of convoluted equations and arrive at the following absurd conclusion. The train will reach Lowestoft at precisely when the grain-eating hen, which we haven't mentioned before, spontaneously combusts, and X equals ham becomes a universal constant. What do you think of that then, Tim?
What? Did you actually
what was the first bit again?
To calculate the time it takes for the train to reach...
Yeah, everything after that.
Yeah, I don't know really. But there's the answer. But this is what I want to come on to. You won't see that, but I got the answer by typing that into ChatGPT.
Ah, wow. Well, it's almost like a seamless link, and we haven't set this up. But I have asked ChatGPT. I worried that CIFO will be destroyed by artificial intelligence. So earlier on, I did some ChatGPT CIFOs to see what I'm up against, and I asked it this question. Let's have a look here. So I said, "Hi ChatGPT, please make funny fake CFAX." I call it CFAX in case you don't know what CIFO is. CFAX style listings about Bergerac, and it's given me 5. Okay, and I'm gonna read one to you straight away. For some reason, it's decided that Bergerac should be the only show on the entire day, and that it's only a half-hour show. We know full well it was Wednesday night for at least 50 minutes. 6 to 6:30, early morning havoc. Catch Bergerac in a moment of pure chaos as he wakes up with a pineapple stuck on his head after a wild night out. Will he solve crimes or just become a human fruit bowl? Tune in to find out. So All right, okay. Swing and a miss, ChatGPT. But it's okay because they've come back with 6:30 to 7, Bergerac's bad hair day. Bergerac's world is turned upside down when his signature moustache mysteriously vanishes overnight. Witness the dramatic detective's desperate attempt to solve crimes while sporting a handlebar moustache made of spaghetti. Can he maintain his dignity? Don't miss this hairy situation. And then there's another about 9 of these. And at the end it says, please note, these programs are a work of fiction. Bergerac is not responsible for any pineapples or missing moustaches. Enjoy responsibly. So I'm pretty sure that whilst the nuclear attack will go off and the robots with the Gatling guns will mow us down, I will lie there as their metal claw crushes me to death, thinking, yeah, but you could come up with a satirical CFO that was remotely funny. And that's probably how Terminator 9 should end.
Yeah, yeah, no. The one that is canon, hopefully, but yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's right. Yeah, they'll say, well, those other ones they didn't count, the rubbish ones. That's right.
I'm glad they can make rules like that because I can actually sleep easier with that. But the thing is, with the way that you're publishing your CFOs, they're coming up as an image. And if you're not actually putting anything in the alt text, there's nothing that they call it a language, a large language engine. That's how these things are created, and it won't interpret your picture, the words in it.
So I am putting the alt text in, but it doesn't. I don't write. This is a listing in the style of CFAX, something like that. So maybe that will save us from the robot overlords to start with.
I think so.
Unless I can come to some sort of agreement where I will work with robot overlords, thinking they will save me, and ultimately, of course, I will not. I will be simply betrayed by them when I become no longer useful to them, and they find out exactly who Keith is.
Yeah, you'll have to write everything out in binary just to appease your robot masters.
Yeah. I think we've done a binary joke. I must look that up. I've done. I can't remember. I think we've done one.
011 foot in the grave.
It's good. Good. See, that's
something
we're after.
Point there to Dan. Yeah. That's a point there to Dan. Yeah.
I think I did. What was it? 29.72 centimeters in the grave, a metric version of 1 foot in the grave, which went down quite well. So that was nice. But yeah, binary jokes are. I think isn't that the gag that there's only 2 types of people who get binary jokes. There's only 10 types of people who get binary jokes or something like that. That's 1 toot in the grave. Someone did that the other day. That was a competition listing. I thought it was just good. That's fantastic. They've got in all the elements there. A large fart is heard from his coffin. I did actually change that because they said the audience are shocked and all agree they don't believe it. And I changed it to mourners because I thought you don't tend to say, what was the audience like at the funeral? Was it a big audience?
We've got a great crowd in for today's burial.
Did you get tickets? That's right. Was there a warm-up act or something like that? Yeah, so that's not one of mine. But yeah, I think that got about 43. 43 people like that and made 43 people laugh. And if you've made 43 people laugh, then you're probably on the route to being, I don't know, a kind of semi-professional local comedian or something like that.
I had a binary joke once, Didn't I try telling it at one of the digitizers and it went wrong? I think it was I had too much lager, but it was something like you sing 1-0 to the binary, which would be 3-0 or something like that. I was trying to it'd be 2-0, wouldn't it? If you go 1-0 to the binary, they're 2 up. So if they score another goal, that'd be 1-1 to the binary. Do you see what I mean? But you could never really get that.
I'm not so worried now about the robots killing us if that's the standard of binary jokes. That's fine. Yeah, that's cool.
You can sleep easy now.
We might push you up front, hit them with the binary jokes first of all, confuse them, while we're all legging out the back on motorbikes.
I'll interview them to death. Don't worry. That's it. What have we got in the old teletext dugout at the moment, Dan? Any comments?
Yes, we've got loads of responses to Reynard City's question, including Jamie Namath saying, I'm not sure about orange seconds, but banana equivalent dose is a real unit.
What?
ZX Guesser says, if this ends in a replacement bus service. Mr. Clown says, yes, but what is the square root of tandem bicycles?
So once it claimed that Bergerac had a signature moustache, I was out of there basically.
I was thinking about the geezer with the big nose. Wasn't he Bergerac as well?
Cyrano de Bergerac, right? Yeah. They're very, very different characters, though. You wouldn't get like a 17th century noble Frenchman running around the island of Jersey attempting to solve problems, having formerly been an alcoholic. But there's probably a crossover there somewhere.
Yeah, well, Martin says Bergerac, the Bureau des Étrangers has to deal with an imposter.
As I said, Martin is a genius when it comes to puns. He's not shown it there, but that's fantastic. But that's the sort of thing. Bergerac, nice. You see, maybe you should have put that one in, Martin, instead of your one about Sensei, which Billy D Sensei, which I don't believe I actually typed that into ZXNet and then pasted it and then wrote an alt text for it and then published it and then commented on it. So that's a good 9 minutes of my life I'm not getting back.
Bergerac's Anorak.
Okay, well, let's workshop that. Bergerac, it's on at 8 o'clock. What happens in Bergerac's Anorak then?
It's about Bergerac's biggest fan goes over to the island of Jersey with a thermos flask to find out all the famous facts about John Nettles.
All the famous facts about... Oh, hang on. It's taken a turn there. It's gone a little bit because he's a Bergerac fan, but he knows that Bergerac is John Nettles. So is it a drama or is it a documentary, you see? Or is it like a multiverse, He's been sucked into it and he realises that Bergerac...
Steve Lamax, Bergerac in an anorak.
There you go. See now you got the idea. Lamax Bergerac anorak attack or something like that.
Yeah.
That's how you get it working. And that's the point. You realise that you should go to bed, and it's 2 in the morning.
It's still light out there, Tim. I can't do it yet.
It's like you only get 5 hours of darkness now. It's ridiculous. Although I used to enjoy. Was it Midsummer Yesterday? I think it was, wasn't it? I used to wind people up on Facebook on the day after Midsummer. I used to write "Nights are drawing in."
Yeah, that's it.
Don't
be Christmas.
One woman who just every single year would go, "Stop saying that."
Please stop saying. I don't even have Twitter. Please stop saying that. That's it. Yeah.
Midsummer hurdlers. Daley Thompson jumps over old people in small village.
Is Dan an AI? I was just going to ask. That's all.
Well, we want to know about Keith actually. If you want to now spill the beans on Keith, because is he playing badminton?
So Keith is real. Keith may not be his real name for confidentiality reasons. And also because he lost all of his ID in a high-stakes poker game, which ended up I say poker, it was Hungry Hippos. But so Keith, there are a few people behind the scenes. Keith is one of them. Keith does a lot of our kind of admin and anything else that we can't do ourselves because we're too busy doing them. He did fall out of a window recently. And it was nice because we got a load of get well wishes, which was really nice considering you might just be making him up. He is late tonight. I apologize that, as we probably saw on the promo, he set up a badminton club. And he wanted it to be like a casual thing. He's not a massive player, but he wanted to be casual. So he's called it No Strings Badminton. And that's caused a bit of a problem with the people who turned up with the rackets. Games are taking far too long now. No one seems to be able to serve unless it's off the rim. So we're expecting back at some point. But no, he's great. He's really useful. There is a possibility you might be seeing one of his CFOs at the weekend because he has entered the competition. So it might be that you'll see it going there. You'll certainly know if you think it's Keith or not. But yeah, he's nice. People ask about him, and he helps out, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So you just have to apologise for the poor service at the badminton. That's the only thing.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. It started at 7. His badminton. He's going to be done by 7:30. I'm presuming they will actually throw him out of the leisure centre at midnight when it closes.
Do you reckon, how long do you think you'll be carrying on with CFO? I know it's a sort of like presumptuous question, but are you seeing any other avenues? Can you keep this going and perhaps see a divergence in anything that you do in the future?
Have tried. Yeah, yes. Well, did do a few CFO weathers where I took a old weather map and just took the numbers and then wrote the numbers meaning something different or something like that. It was like one had a 5 or something like that. That was most popular pop group of 2003 or something like that. And I'm not sure it worked that well. And we did horoscopes, which are just horrific horoscopes, where everything goes, Wednesday you'll have a lovely day in the park where you'll be killed by a fox, that kind of thing. But they took a bit of time, and to be honest, it's a one-hit joke. People get it. So for the minute, the listings are still going. There's a possibility if the numbers keep rising and stuff like that, and a few people have been in touch to. We might go analog, and we might make a book. We don't know yet. And there's sort of, those little funny books that would ideally be sold in the gift shop sections of British Home Stores and Debenhams, where they had not massively collapsed several years ago or something like that. So probably in Menkind, or probably about it or something like that. But we've got enough content there. I have no idea if we did that, whether or not we would get jumped on by the CFAX police. I don't know if is CFAX, is teletext, is it proprietary? Is it something that we have to ask permission for? I don't know.
I believe CFAX is still copyright the BBC, but they're very unlikely to enforce it unless you start making a load of money off the name CFAX itself.
Yeah, and obviously it's a completely different name. It's an utterly different name. And I didn't just make the U by turning a C around in Photoshop and then sticking it next to it. I definitely didn't. That was an entirely new name come up with by a series of brand consultants. But I mean, how long do we keep doing it for? I don't know. I often wake up thinking, do we need to do some more of these? Have I run out of ideas? And then you come up with new ones. And I've got, while we've had the competition on, whilst it's been 20 minutes every day trying to set up the ones for the next day, it's allowed us to sit back and write some new ones. And there is one coming up. We got a whole set of Black Mirror ones we want to do. So we were going to do that when Black Mirror was launched, but that was right in the middle of the competition. So we got a load of Black Mirror stuff, which hopefully might, again, if we were to get noticed by Charlie Brooker once, even if he liked it, that would be quite nice, because that's kind of where all the ideas have gone back from. Oh, he's gone back further than that. It's like Alexi. I don't know if you ever guys seen Alexi Sales CFAX?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
because that's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen, which is just great. The BBC today announced the BBC was the nicest organisation in the world. ITV are just rubbish or something like that. I remember seeing that in like 1991, thinking they've actually got hold of the CFAX generator and made fake CFAX pages, and they put the music over the top of it. So that's kind of where it started. So yeah, we got some Black Mirror ones coming on. We have got one. I'm looking at the screen now. I'm not going to ruin it, but it's genuinely one of the funniest things that we've ever written. It'll get about 10 likes, but as far as I'm concerned, it made me laugh for a good 4 hours after I read it, so it's fine.
ZX Guesser says, trouble with teletext books is that they take a lot of ink.
That's a very good point. So yeah, and of course, if you go past one page, you have to flick all the way around the back of the book and come round to the front again. Yeah,
you should make that a thing on your book. That should be like compulsory on a book. You missed that page, you're gonna have to wait for it to come back.
Open it up on page 17 and then read to the end and
ignore it all till you get to number 1 and go, pretend I haven't read that bit.
What I really like about you guys, and I like about the kind of, I never would imagine there was all this teletext community out there and people got in touch early on and stuff like that, is that you guys remember and celebrate CFAX, particularly in teletext, for what it was. And it was genuinely world changing as far as when we were kids and stuff like that. I remember seeing it and thinking, this is great, I get all this information. You often hear that story where people go, oh, do you remember when Princess Diana died? And everyone goes, oh yeah, do you remember? Well, my mum came in the room at 7 in the morning and said, oh, Princess Diana's died. And you hear that story repeated again and again. And then no one ever says what actually happened, which is, then I went down and checked CFAX and I got all the details on there, and I got it all in blocks. And then I read a slightly more salacious version on ITV and stuff like that. And we've kind of lost that. And I remember when CFAX was running at the same time as BBC News starting up, and CFAX, BBC News was basically CFAX just a bit extended and stuff like that. And I miss that. I miss those pages. I miss that ability just to, like a TV break you would get on your phone now, but actually you would hit the text button and stuff like that. Our text button was worn off by the end of it, absolutely. The text button was worn off. Mix wasn't worn off. I don't know anyone who ever sat there crazily, mix text and picture, because that was just insane.
Only if you had CFAX on view. If you're really geeky, you'd have CFAX on view, then press text and go to the page, and you'd get this sort of like overlay problem, and it looked like 3D teletext.
What you get is it would be a little bit like if CFAX built a Terminator. That's what his view was like of the real world, and then he had all this information going up. So he'd be chasing you, but at the same time he'd be keeping up to date on transfer requests that kind of thing.
It'd be just going after Sarah Connor, then all of a sudden he'll be going, and the weather today will be mostly fine in the east. Yeah,
and it really annoys me that basically most people's memory of teletext in particular is Peter Kay doing a joke about teletext holidays. That's kind of it, is that they don't remember remember all the good stuff. They remember Bamboozle, they do, and people remember Digitizer, which is great and lovely. We got followed by Mr. Biffo on CIFO quite early on, and that was like, I was genuinely wow. Yeah. And I messaged him and said, I wasn't expecting a response, and I didn't get one. But it's just, thank you so much, really. And we got followed by who was it? By John Earls, who did Planet Sounds, who was genuinely a hero. I used to read his stuff and find out about music, and then you start to just realize all those good people who've gone on to do stuff. And that's where they started, And I think having that small amount of work you got to do, but make it really impactful, was what was really, really good. And also, I've got two favorite CFAX stories or teletext stories. We've got time for them. I'll tell you one now. One was we got our teletext TV when Sylvester McCoy was in Doctor Who. And my favourite thing was discovering that if you put the subtitles on for Doctor Who, the Doctor was in white, his companion was in blue, but the Daleks were in flashing capital red, which is just brilliant. Which is like, whoever thought, let's make those subtitles a little bit more threatening. That was just glorious.
It's the ultimate blocks, isn't it? It's the ultimate shouting in caps. Flashing
and
red.
they had little hashtags at the side. Like, I don't know, were they hoping they would trend or something like that? But the other story, that this is genuinely true. Years and years ago, I used to go to a gym, clearly not now, and they had TV screens up, and they play music. So you'd never see you'd see the TV screen, but you wouldn't have the sound on. So you'd have the teletext, you'd have the subtitles on. And one night he had this, the news was on, and we all listen to music and stuff, and the news came up about an asylum seeker who was being deported, and as a protest he had sewn his eyelids together, and therefore he couldn't be deported. And the messages were coming up, and it said, the top line said, the British government today tried to deport, and the next line said, an asylum seeker who had sewn his eyelids up. And at that point the guy changed the channel to the Olympics. And as often happened, if it did this, sometimes the subtitles don't fully change over, and it kept the bottom line, and the bottom line said, an asylum seeker who had sewn his eyelids together. And as they went through the Olympics, the top bit would change all the time, and he started saying things like, the British team narrowly missed out to an asylum seeker who had sewn his eyes together. The biggest threat for this competition will be an asylum seeker who sewn his eyes together. I was just standing thinking, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Again, I put on subtitles these days. I still put subtitles on, like on Netflix or on Amazon or something like that, basically because I can't hear it most of the time. But just that joy of sometimes seeing the joke a little bit before it arrives was always quite good.
Yeah, I think also with the teletext, but subtitles particularly, you had this sort of sense of interaction, because although it was only a sort of like an asynchronatic sort of medium, you weren't interacting with it. It was telling you it was seeing them subtitles and obviously trying to troll it to see if they were going to get it just right and things like that. Was it always maybe I used to watch EastEnders as a lad and used to put the subtitles on for that if I was bored. And They Speak Urdu came up in the background. They speak Urdu, and you're thinking, right? Well, it's a meta concept, isn't it? Really, it's that subtitles for the listening people that have just got it on for a bit of shits and giggles, really.
Well, I'm glad that they could differentiate between Hindi and Urdu.
I think they are as well, Dan. Yeah. Yeah, excellent.
We've had loads and loads of funny things in the chat. Sorry,
oh,
Carl.
Yes, yeah. We've been deserting our public. Let's give them the airing they deserve.
Well, Reynard has been leaving loads and loads of jokes. Doctor, I feel like a deck of cards. Well, go and buy some and stop bothering me. Hey, bum bum. Doctor, I have spots on my bum. Those are red jelly babies.
Give them back to the red jelly baby.
Yeah, is Keith the ghost of Dalton Trumbo?
I guess I'm going to ask the obvious question: who's Dalton Trumbo?
Good question, because I don't know either.
I'm looking it up now. Dalton Trumbo is an American screenwriter. He died in 1976. Keith was born in 1969.
Hello to Simon Coleman.
Yes.
Martin says Urdu, a Scouse perm.
Urdu.
Going for an Urdu.
Nice Urdu.
I warned you about Martin. Simon Coleman. Yeah, thanks, Simon Coleman. Simon Coleman. He's the man who sent me anal partridge. and to this day asks me why I still haven't put it up there. And I think I did put it up one night, but took it down quite quickly.
He said that
he is a man of many ideas, many ideas.
He did say that he likes Britain's Got Talons as well.
It's just Britain's Got Talons. Just good luck with it, mate. It's great. Thanks so much. It's good.
Reynard, I have a series of brand consultants. Oh wait, no, it's a bowl of fruit and fibre.
Oh, brand consultants.
Hey. Oh, I misread it as brain consultants at first.
I will go back and obviously look at the full transcript of this afterwards to see if we need to put anything in place, any kind of restraining orders or something like that.
Restraining orders. We have a question from Dr. Reese, and he asks, which entry are you A, the most pleased with, and B, the most surprised went viral in terms of higher numbers of retweets, likes than you ever imagined?
That's a very good question. I did look into them recently. Which I say that Good Gellers one kind of went really well. There was one that we did, which was Alien versus Predator versus Mr. Nigel Atkinson of 41 Park Road, which was all about a kind of mix-up that resulted in this painter and decorator being involved in an interplanetary war, which was quite, and that kind of took off really well. The Magnum PI or Magnum Pie about who solves 3.141597 crimes a week or something like that. That was just again a throwaway joke, and that just got. We've got a real hardcore of quite scientific people, I think. The ones that seem to go down well, if you do jokes about file extensions. So we did Doc Martin, we did CSV Miami or something like that. So all these crimes can only be exported from Excel and stuff like that. And those are sort of things that seem. Again, I think we're hitting that sweet spot on our audience. Again, between the ages of like 39 and 59, and have some experience of Microsoft products or something like that. But it continues to surprises me how some people find certain things funny. One of the best ones we had was early on was Some Mothers Do Have Them, Mothers as in MUTHAS, which is a hardcore remake set in South Central LA. And instead of Frank Spencer, it was played by Ice-T, called Franklin Spencer III. And he ends up in a gang warfare because someone put a cap in the cat's ass after it did a whoopsie on the sidewalk. And you're kind of writing that and thinking, what are we doing here? And then just loads of people just laughing at it and stuff like that. So I'm continually surprised at what people find funny. What I can't work out is, of course, when we started doing it, 20, 30 likes was really good. Now we've got certain amount of viewers, and if we start getting 200, 300 likes, that's a really good one. But I don't get too hung up on them. I kind of think if we got 20, 30 likes and then you multiply it across all the ones we do, that's a lot of likes, and you see different people laughing all the time. You see different comments come up. So clearly it's hitting people in different ways and stuff like that. Or when you see someone who's just joined and then they obviously start going back and start liking them. And there's one guy just like, he liked this one and 59 other of your tweets and stuff like that. I thought, I just love the idea there's someone there literally stepping back through all the work we've done, all the madness, and just gone, yeah, I like that. So that's quite nice. But yeah, it always surprises me what people find funny and what we think will go really well. But as I say, there's a couple coming up hopefully next week, which if they're as good as I hope they are, then people, there'll be awards, but there'll be awards. There'll be £20 notes posted through the door, that kind of thing. It'll be that good.
Gonna say, what about sages from CFAX? People struggle to operate spreadsheets on teletext along the lines of the techies. Never mind.
As I say, it's definitely an idea.
It's definitely an idea. You've done it again, Dan.
We've got a little folder. It looks like a bin. It's not. It's a folder on the computer. We drag it across into the folder. It looks like a bin, but it's not a bin. I once accidentally dragged the recycle bin into a recycle bin, and I couldn't get it out. I had to phone IT and get it sorted. It was strange. That was the same day that Keith used Tipex on the screen. So it was it was a bad day.
That's when you leave your auto reply onto your auto out of office, isn't it?
And just bounce back each other. Yes, absolutely lovely. I'm not in. I know you're not in. I'm not in. I know you're not in.
I know you're not in. Yeah, I'm still not in.
I still, if I put my out of office on, I don't trust it. I have to send an email to my out of office to check it, sends it back to me.
Yeah. There was one that I sent in, and I was really pleased with it, and I sort of read it back, and I thought nobody's going to get this joke except for people that do this particular thing. and watch this particular thing and understand what this particular term means. And I'm thinking, they ain't going nowhere. But it's just one of them ones where it just came to me, and I thought, I just need to tell someone how absurd it is.
Is that Blackadder Goes Forth?
That is, yes.
Which again we loved, we thought was really, really good. But you look at it and think, how many people will get it?
Yeah.
But you think, it's a quality, not a quantity one there. But then you came up with Jossie's Chitans, which frankly we've been trying to come up with the Jossie's giant joke for ages, which is really, really good. And that just again tickled us. The whole idea of just these little Geordie kids sitting there just with cigarettes and all that. Yes. Nice. Yeah, and then you did weird AI Yankovic, which was good, which is a nice idea. And US computer generated comedian takes a sideways look at anything by use of ChatGPT. There is an idea in there. Keep working on that one for next time, and that and maybe that will not get on.
I thought of another Jossie's one actually. It was a Jossie's Andre the Giants.
There you go. See,
there you go.
That's right. Well, now all the viewers. See, there you go. I'm looking at the sign. I can see the sign already. Okay, we're just deleting that one straight away. But you're letting that out to the viewers. That they'll be.
It's a gift to us. It's a free gift. That's on the cover of the Sofa Club magazine. Free gift.
I got that, but it said if you're giving. Do I have to ask the newsagent if the gift is not there?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, fine, Your cassette is missing. Go and see the newsagent. And
the weird thing was, right, is if you
took it's been ripped off.
When you're at home, if you then took the cassette off, right, and then lost it, you look at it and would say, "Ask the newsagent." I would go. The newsagent wouldn't know what I was on about if I went back. So they should say if you're in the shop, ask because you can't just keep going back to the newsagent if you've got it already. I mean, it was 2 to 3 years after as well, and he wasn't even a newsagent, but it was a butcher's. But he
was getting a bit fed up. We don't. You didn't rewind the tape from 15 years ago. I'm not going to accept your business ever again in this shop. So,
no, that's right. And to this day, I still can't find the soundtrack to Afterburner that I can play. So there we go.
Did you have a computer when you were younger? Was it like Spectrum or something like that?
It's because it was a Spectrum. That's why my love of limited color palettes and being able to do stuff in incredibly small amounts of space. Yeah, we had a Spectrum, and that was great. And I think that's probably what that. I think in a Spectrum, you kind of had an affinity with CFAX. It kind of worked that way, that kind of blockiness and stuff like that. And we always wanted, I wanted a teletext TV. I wanted a big track. I never got a big track. So, I looked at one recently. We went into my daughter's school the other day and they had 30 big tracks. It's like just in the corner, stuff like that. What do you, we use them now and again for like a kind of maths project. It's like, you've got 30 big tracks. I didn't have a big track. What's going on here? I maybe get a bit of, so it's just great. And and again, the specky, that beautiful thing of being able to make something really, really good with literally no memory and literally no time and space and colors and stuff like that, but still make it really fun and exciting. So that's kind of where I started. So it kind of all knits together, and it's nice that kind of retro community still exists, and the fact you can now go online and play every single Spectrum game ever. I think I've got them all on a memory stick somewhere, and go back and realise that most of them weren't very good, but some of them are brilliant.
That's right. Yeah, I think nostalgia ain't all it's cracked up to be sometimes, but it's still nice to have it.
Nostalgia used to be really good, but it's not anymore.
That's it. Yeah, today's nostalgia ain't as good as it used to be. But the interesting thing about the synergy I find with like retro computing and with the teletext, like you're using ZXNet to put your work up. Is that all these things now become democratized and available to people, whereas back in the day they were massive mainframes. You could only use them at BBC TV Centre, or you could only buy the game physically from WH Smith's in a box for $9.99, or copy it on your Amstrad twin tape deck. But everything's available to everyone now, and you could sit down and do anything in the style of anything these days, and it's thanks to enthusiasts, people who don't really, they just want to do it because their passion and all that. So I think really, I want to, the people on this Discord and all that, they know who they are. Big thanks to them really, because when Dan and I started doing teletext, I borrowed. Well, I shouldn't really say, but I borrowed some proprietary software to do it that required a dongle normally. But now there's a choice of online CFAX editors that you can go to, and more people are coming to the party. But there you go. But we're not interviewing me, Tim, so we better get back to you. Any more action coming there from coming in from the callers, Dan?
Well, it's all action in the chat. ZX Guesser says, I'll spend 45 minutes making the stupidest photoshops to tweet to people, 3 people who will get it, but then it goes away and I can think again.
Yeah, he does a really good meme of teletext recovery where he gets all the letters all jumbled up, because when you're recovering teletext, it's always the same letters that are going wrong. And it's he'll have to post that up for you, Tim, and you'll get the joke straight away. It's a very.
I think spending far too long making a joke that you know only a few people would get. There's something quite beautiful about that, because there's a whole idea of, I could not do this. I could save myself a bit of time. I could go and do something worthwhile. Actually, no, I want to make 4 or 5 people laugh that will really, really get this. And when you know, that kind of Captain America, I got that reference meme or something like that. And when you see that, that's always really, really nice. It's like, just get 5 or 6 people who really find it funny, rather than, you know, play to a crowd with a couple hundred or something like that. Yeah. That's what I use when our stuff isn't very popular, and that's the best way to kind of show it.
Yeah, it's looking at the effort of things rather than the effort and thought, rather than the quick hits for the big bucks.
Absolutely. Reynard says, I remember when people were so much better at recalling things in a wistful manner.
Yeah, great days. That's right. Yeah, they should bring that back. That's right. Yeah, we should bring that back. But
bring back reminiscence.
Weird. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, do you remember reminiscing? It's weird though, is that when you look back now, this is the really weird thing about the 90s, is that you see all the 90s stuff and it's all standard definition 4:3. And yet you remember the 90s as being widescreen and HD and colourful and stuff like that. And it's really weird to see, you know, that switch over. And, you know, it's impossible to watch anything in standard definition. You try and watch football in standard definition, it's like watching a game of Pong or something like that. It's impossible. But you remember all the stuff you watched was that low definition, and it was in that 4:3. It's really weird when you look back, because that's not how you remember it at all. You know, it's getting old, and that's all it is.
I think the glass on the CRT used to sort of like do something with the images. When it pixelates now on the screens we've got, I think less heavy lifting's done with that glass that isn't there. I think that'll have a lot to answer for it. Because I remember getting a widescreen telly. You know, we rented one in. You know, they've all gone to 16:9. All the programs are still in 4:3, so you'd have to press 16:9, and it basically go, "This is brilliant," and it'll be like people like this. Like just stretched right across there, and you go, no, we've got to use the whole screen because this is what we're renting. You know, we need to get our money's worth. The Nicam stereo. God,
we rented a VHS player. The local Esso garage, for some reason, suddenly started renting VHS players. So we went down and gave a £5 deposit and came back with a suitcase that looked a little bit like a nuclear bomb. And when you opened it up, it had a video player inside. And we watched Teen Wolf three times in a row. It was fantastic. So, and now you say that to someone, they just go, "That was insane. I just click here and just watch that. That's fine." I was rubbish.
But you only watch it the once, or even only 5 minutes of it. But if you had the video, the machine, you're going to go, "I've rented that video. I'm going to watch that twice. I'm going to watch that 3 times."
Having all this choice now, how many times do you sit down at night and literally, I can't find anything to watch when you have got everything? Because when you only had a few things you could do, right? I'll dig out the Red Dwarf video. I'll watch that time and time again, or something like that. You know, I'll look back on. I recorded Empire Strikes Back off ITV. You know, and I edited the news out in the middle or something like that. But now, it's just it's all there. Well, I don't want it now. It's all there. Yeah.
And the satisfaction of pressing pause for the advert and then unpausing it, you know, unpausing the recording when it goes back, and you watch it back, and you just going, you're just going like that at the network, aren't you? Actually going, "No, I'm not watching your adverts."
I once recorded a match today from my brother, and I knew that the first game didn't have any goals in the first half, so I was sat there. And when they finished the teams and they kicked off, I paused it. I waited for the first half to finish, and then I unpaused it when they kicked off the second half. And they scored after about 10 minutes in the second half. It's all 55 minutes, and he got so confused because I edited out the whole of the first half. Something's gone wrong with match of the day, something like that, you know.
They attacked from the word go. It was incredible. It's just attack from kickoff straight away. Very quick game, mind, but it was.
Martin says his first VHS machine was a player, not a recorder.
Oh,
was it a huge recorder? Huge player? Never mind. ZX Guesser says, "Damn you all to hell, Carl. Damn you to hell."
Oh, what have I done now?
I don't know. Well, incidentally, guys, ZX Guesser is the creator of the ZXNet editor.
Oh, well, in which case, ZX Guess, not only do I bow humbly at your feet for a magnificent user-friendly system that once I worked out I press escape to do stuff, that was fine. But also, I don't owe you any money, do I? Please say I don't owe you any money, because if so, I think I owe you a lot of money, and I don't want to owe you a lot of money. So please don't let me owe you a lot of money. Thank you. I've just seen a comment in the chat. Boris goes skiing. Never popular. Former PM goes skiing. See, that's the kind of that's odd because it's not a TV show, but it's something that would probably fit in the wheelhouse of our people. Who knows? That Simon Coleman may have just redeemed himself from Anal Partridge. You never know.
Boris goes skiing. Yeah, hungry Boris. Yeah,
that's good. I like that. Very good.
Very good. Yeah.
You might have to do a video game section that's a parody of Digitizer.
Oh, that's the point. It's the point. How can you parody Digitizer? It's like that's impossible. It's literally that gag has been done so well. To the point where it just goes on about computer games and then just goes off at a tangent completely and utterly, and you just think, I'm never going to be as good as this. And it's like someone said, why don't you do like fake news and stuff like that? I just think people do that all the time. You get The Onion, you get Daily Mash and stuff like that. It's let's just do some. And what's quite nice, I've not seen many people do similar stuff to this. Certainly not. No one's done a kind of a teletext version or something like that. Although, and I did mention him earlier, Richard Osman does have a round in his show where you have to take a letter off a TV program or add a letter to a TV program, and then he describes it. So, 3 Yorkshiremen push a pig down a hill, and that's last of the summer swine. And I'm thinking, I've got to double check, because if he comes up with Good Gellers or something like that at some point, or if he does Anal Partridge, and it turns out Simon Coleman was right all along, and he gets millions from Osman and appears in his book, and all that kind of stuff, then maybe we can do the right thing. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that. I did have a joke stolen by a comedian once, and I was never very happy about that.
You could have Good Gellers. Gangsters sit around and try to bend spoons.
See, there you go. That was an original idea when we wrote Good Gellers. We thought, do we do an actual joke? But then you're taking good fellas, turning it to Gellers. Is that? Can you get it? Yeah. And then you end up with the word celebrity bender, and there's always a worry if you write the word celebrity bender.
It could be Sarah Michelle Gellar from Buffy.
Yeah, it could be Buffy.
See, and this is how it starts, and this is how it ends at 3 a.m. crying into an empty bottle of beer.
That's it, yeah. Make sure do you actually literally have a notepad next to you by your bedside, or is that just like a creator's myth?
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I stick something on a phone, or sometimes, and this is genuinely true, I have an idea, I will put a load of objects on a table in a really weird fashion. So when I go back, I go, why did I do that? And it will remind me of what the listing was. And to this day, it has never worked. So there are some really, really good ideas that I thought, I know, if I put a Weetabix next to a highlighter pen, a paperclip, and £3 in change, that will remind me this next day. No idea at all. No, what was I doing? Absolutely, yeah. So, but there is that thing. Write stuff down, try and remember it. There are ones you suddenly remember in the middle of the night. I have got out of bed once, gone downstairs, written something down. The wife thought the house was being burgled, but there we go. And then you carry it all in the briefcase across to CFO Towers, and then unpack it all there, get into the meetings, discuss the ideas, go on the trampolines, that kind of thing, and it's it all comes together eventually.
It sounds like a very high-powered environment at CFO Towers, certainly.
It's 12 floors. First floor reception, floors 2 through 9 are mainly trampoline parks. Floor 10 is listings, 11 emergency trampoline park, floor 12 sales, admin, and ladies' gloves, and then there's the roof, which just has like antennas on and stuff like that.
Is that HR?
HR are in a small wooden hut just outside, which is surrounded by a moat.
Yeah, people services, as we like to friendly call it these days, I guess. You said something about being annoyed at a comedian that might have stolen some of your material. Did I hear that right?
I did a joke years ago, or not a joke, it's a true story on beta.com. Same guy's gone off and done Fesshole, which is magnificent. But I put on a true story, which is when I was 22 years old, I just started driving. I borrowed my mum's car, and I was driving around listening to music on tapes and stuff like that. And I went to the garage, got a drink and something to eat and stuff like that. I gave her the car back. And a couple of days later, I came in the door and she's sitting by the phone next to this chair by the phone. I said, what's she sitting by the phone? She's looking really, really upset. And I go, and she said, you're right. So can you sit down? I said, yeah, it's fine. And she says, now you borrow my car? Because yes, I want you to answer me this truthfully. I said, okay, yeah, fine. And she pulls out a small tablet with a letter embossed on it. And she says, answer me truthfully. Is this drugs? And I walked over to her, I picked it up, and I said, it's a smint. And it was, because I had literally had some smints that day and stuff like that. I had to explain what a smint was. And I wrote, and that got huge. I got that one question of the week or someone on Beta about 10 years ago and stuff like that. A comedian, and I won't name that comedian, has done exactly the same story, almost word for word on a show. And I think it's very unlikely, because they even do the pause, and they even say, is this drugs? And then, no, mum, it's a smint, and it's, so the weird thing is, if you think of anything fun these days, if you see someone on telly with like a big hat or something like that, and you give it 5 seconds and go on Twitter and type in big hat, 700 people have gone, did you see the man with the big hat? What an idiot with the big hat. How big was that hat? And stuff like that. So there's no originality anymore. But the fact that it's stolen a bit, it just does annoy me slightly. There was another one during Euro 2020. I posted a picture of a Swiss fan when Switzerland are losing with they're losing with 2 minutes to go against Germany or France, and the guys absolutely can't bear it, and then they score, and then it cut back to him, and he got his shirt off and was going mad. And I posted the two side by side, and it went viral. And I got like 7 million hits or something like that off it.
Wow.
And I got 3 new followers, which is fantastic, But I then saw it about 40 minutes later on a variety of sites. And the weird thing is that when I stuck them together in PowerPoint, I'd actually done it wrong, and there was a little white line underneath it that you wouldn't have accidentally done if you'd done it yourself. But all the retweets had that little white line underneath. I thought, you've stolen that from me. But I did manage to get it. I think I've put it on Know Your Meme, that I've claimed it as my own. But it went ludicrously viral. My phone melted down. It was on BBC News next day. It was featured on the New York Times, and I got 3 followers.
Hard earned. I had a moment like that. Do you remember? If you're a football fan, you might remember that the Liverpool player Ryan Babel once tweeted a picture of referee Howard Webb in a Manchester United shirt.
Yes.
That was a Photoshop that I did in like 2008. And then it was, 2013 that he tweeted that? I can't remember. But and to this day, nobody knows that I did it.
There you go.
It's an exclusive.
Because it was in all the newspapers and stuff, wasn't it, the next day? How weird, terrible Photoshop.
It's weird. It's that democratization of stuff, which means anyone can have an idea, but also anyone can nick an idea. And often it's, if someone's got a load more followers than you, they'll just claim it as their own, and they'll pass it as their own material. The kind of, the way that a lot of top comedians nick jokes from other people and stuff like that. But, you can't get too precious about it. That's why sometimes some of the CFOs we write are so ridiculously stupid that no one would ever try and copy it, So, might as well just go down that route.
Yeah. And Martin says, I sent a tweet to a well-known comedian who used it as their opening words on the BBC radio show 3 minutes later.
There you go, see? That's right. Yeah. It was probably a really bad pun Martin sent through, to be honest, because that was what he would have done. But no, it's weird is that, your stuff gets used, or you'll send something in a competition or something like that, and it'll turn up a couple of weeks later or something like that. But, it is what it is, isn't it? So there we go. Yeah. I mean, frankly, I'm stealing the entire CFAX font. So, I've really got no leg to stand on, really.
Transformative license, I think they could put that under.
Yes. I think that's what we will claim in court, exactly.
Yes, my lad. Oh, that was good. Got anything else on the YouTube comments and the Discord comments there, Dan?
Well, we've had a million questions from Reynard, so we might as well just ask one of them. He asks, if a lucky monkey offered you infinite magic, would you let it cover your house in cottage cheese and uncomfortable pictures of Christopher Biggins?
Some very specific terms and conditions being applied to this infinite magic. I mean, I presume I would, because if I had infinite magic, I'd think, right, thanks very much indeed, monkey. I'm now going to remove the cottage cheese and Biggins memorabilia and restore everything to normal. I'm also going to remove your powers because my magic is infinite. So I guess I would put up with that slight inconvenience of a cottage cheese Biggins house for a while if I could then have him. Yeah, of course I would. I'd be fine with that. And if you could let me know where this infinite magic dispensing lucky monkey is, that'd be good.
Yeah, I guess has this guy got like shares in craft or something like that?
It could well be. That's right. Yeah, I think if you mix up his name and bring it back together, it spells Dairy Lee Laughing Cow.
Definitely.
Yeah, on Magazine, people used to have their names like that. They were just anagrams of other stuff, like their real name. It's like something ridiculous, but it was an anagram of their real life name. ZX Guesser actually asks, do you want a page on Chunky Text, which is an online teletext service that he runs? You could potentially put up a nice selection of your greatest hits there, maybe, of your CFO greatest hits.
Absolutely, yeah. Anything that we can do to kind of showcase stuff and make people see it and make it more teletexty. I've done some compilations where I've done them in a like a little TV and stuff like that. The problem is that when I put my little TV, they become really hard to read because I realised how small they were, and that actually you had to sit really close to the telly to see it all properly before on your tiny TV screen. So yeah, anything we can do there, anything that makes it easy. I mean, as I said at the moment, it's ZXNet, it's escape 6 to make them blue. It's fit the words in. It's exported out. All that kind of stuff. It's write the old text. All that sort of thing. Anything to make my life a bit easier would be great. Please make it easier.
Well, I think you'll find that ZX will be a bit of a guru for that because a lot of the artwork that I make, I just export as a PNG just in the corner, and you just save as a PNG file and you just drop it straight to Twitter.
Oh, fantastic! That sounds very good. That could save our lives completely, which is good. So yeah. So anyway,
you could sublet the other 6 floors of the office out. If you could get if you can get the powers in there, there's a lot more trampoline space you could let out to other people.
The problem is that the trampolines are making quite a lot of money, to be honest. I mean, CFO doesn't really make any cash. Mainly it's trampolines, and obviously
so the change coming out of their pockets as they're bouncing
up
and down.
That kind of thing, and and the various deaths, and then we clear those lockers a couple of weeks later. But yeah, it's a very good idea. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we're just happy that several thousand people possibly look at our stuff every day and laugh at it. And sometimes people, for some reason, just follow us and then leave. And you always wonder that. We got to like about 4,300 followers earlier, and they dropped back 2. And I thought, what were those 2 people wanting? They suddenly thought, well, I'm bored of these semi-satirical, funny pun things that are going on. We did get followed. We did get a spate of a lot of fake, sexy ladies following us as well.
Yeah, I thought my luck was in, but I don't think they were real.
No, I'm not entirely sure that they found like a Danger Mouse pun very funny. I think they may well have been fake and stuff like that.
Yeah, your teletext art really turns me on.
That's right. Yeah, and what of course, if they were real, what they would do is send a picture of themselves with like 3 blocks and say press reveal, and that's what you'd like, you see.
Well, this is it. Press reveal with a premium rate number underneath it, just to make me feel nostalgic. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's how you know, isn't it?
When you know, you know.
Nathan Dane asks, have you seen NMS CFAX yet? Which is a little bit like Chunky Text, but it's a CFAX revival. So you go to NMS CFAX on Google. It's like he's stolen all the RSS. Yeah, he's pulled all the RSS feeds from the BBC website, and he does live streams on YouTube.
Oh, he has. Look at this. Was this chap on BBC a while ago?
He certainly was. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw this because I looked and thought this is fantastic. Yeah, because I've immediately gone to 302 to check the football news. I'll be looking at 312 to see the key decisions in the Women's Super League. Imagine seeing the Women's Super League on CFAX in the 80s. God, my father would have burnt the telly. So yeah, no, that's brilliant. That sort of thing is fantastic. He's digitised a very nice little remote control at the side there. Which is lovely. The only thing is, I don't know, has it got music? Has it got music playing or not? Yeah, I don't know if it's got music or not. So I turn the sound off.
On his YouTube channel, he'll stream it and he'll have the music piping underneath it.
Oh, that's lovely.
But on the viewer that ZX Guesser has, you can change the channels, then press text. So channel 1 would be CFAX, 2 would be TFAX, and 3 is Chunky. Chunk text, and I think 4 is saying it as well. And then is there another service as well that we keep talking about in the chat.
And that's certainly you lot are incredibly technical and know stuff. And I work with some really technical people in my non-CFO job, and I'm always amazed that I genuinely tried to learn like HTML about 20 years ago, and I just couldn't, and I've just given up on all that. I can do 10 print. Tim is the best. Semicolon 20 go to 10 run, that kind of thing, and then leg it out of Dixon's as quickly as possible. But I'm still constantly amazed. Stuff like NMS CFAX is just astonishing that people do that and stuff like that. And I think what would be nice sometimes is that at least I can do the kind of the funny editorial side of it, and maybe not knowing how to do those other bits. I'm kind of quite glad I don't know how to do it, but because what you guys do is just scary, and I wouldn't know how to do it in the first place. Like when Dan sent us some lovely pictures in the past, like he sent us a certain amount of followers cake or something like that, and that was really, really kind. Admittedly, he stopped doing it after the first one, so never mind, but that kind of thing, I tried to make a picture. There you see that, fantastic, which is just good. Yeah. Oh, wow. I thought that beautiful, fantastic. Obviously I thought those were like I thought those were eyes. It was like a snake, and I realized it was 500, which is good, which is fab. I'm not sure what the cake's made of. Presume or is it toilet rolls? I don't know. 500 toilet rolls or something like that. But no, that's lovely. And the fact that you guys can do that, I tried making a picture. I tried doing the tracing thing, and it just looked like someone who had like severe burns to their face or something like that. It just didn't work at all. So I'm in awe of that kind of thing. That's lovely. So you keep doing that kind of technical stuff and being really whizzy, and I'll keep doing the low quality puns, and never the twain shall meet. No, it's nice, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys have retweeted stuff. I mean, we're laughing at the comments on the thing from Rob there. Rob, almost every single thing we've done, he retweets to like 9,000 followers, and his cartoons and stuff are brilliant and stuff like that. And the fact that someone like that is laughing at something we did, and you sometimes see the followers. There's a guy who's like a really ludicrously famous actor. It's like he's the son of Timothy West and Prunella Scales, people who I grew up watching TV. And he joined one night and just started liking it. I think that guy's liking our stuff. It's just, it blows your mind or something like that. People are doing it. I say, there's some people who've responded back. You kind of pick the right topic. Like we did some for Diamonds and Forever based around Dominic Diamond, and he got back really quickly, and it was really nice. And we had a Nish Kumar thing, and my favorite thing, which will appeal to you guys, is I got followed on CFO one night by David Doak. David Doak, one of the programmers of GoldenEye on the N64, who also appears in GoldenEye as Dr. Doak, the character you have to meet to get some information off. And I messaged him. Can I just say, first of all, so delighted. Thank you very much indeed. And I apologise for the several hundred times I shot you in the face. And he wrote back to say, "You'd not believe how many people told me that he'd shoot me in the face," which is good. So it's nice. He pops up now and then. Yeah, and we've got, as I say, Mr. Biffer. We've got John Earls and stuff like that, and you guys as well. It's really appreciated. So we'll keep doing it as long as people keep laughing and people keep asking us to come on things like this. It's a pleasure, and I say, if it makes more than one person laugh, then that we've done our job, and that's what's brilliant.
Well, we'll have to apologise to you, because obviously you've ticked the publicity box now. So if that's not going to be us getting you back anytime soon, you'll be on every podcast going.
That's fine.
And
Actually, having all these people who are interested in the messages you get, and just someone just dropping a message now, and when you've been slaving away writing these things late into the night and thinking no one's reading, and then someone writes back and says that's the funniest thing I've read in weeks, or something like that. Brilliant. That makes it all worth it. So no, really appreciate it, guys. And I think I've run out of things to say, and I really need a wee. So I'm probably going to end it. Unless you've got any final questions.
Well, let's just check that chat quickly, because I've been revving them up for 2 weeks. They're all here, so let's give them the final say, because I want you to plug your man back in as well. I think you might get his ECG back going.
Yeah, a little bit late for that. I think like hour 45. Yeah. To be honest, I've had a beer rest on him for the last 20 minutes because it'll cool it down quite nicely.
Excellent. What have you got there, Dan?
Right. Well, thank you to everybody who's left comments tonight. I mean, Reynard has been hysterically funny, and Martin as well, popping up now and again with his own CFOs that I'm sure you'll want to troll.
If we ever die or are taken out by some sort of tactical missile strike, I'm pretty sure Martin, I'm not irresponsible, but I'm sure Martin would actually be able to come in and do a pretty good job. Obviously, once he got through the floors of trampolines and stuff like that. So, yeah, once you get through the first floor, it's relatively easy. From there on, it just goes quite quickly. So yeah, no, it's good. And yeah, and all this, the lovely comments from Reynard, and lots of nice people there. Yeah, we'll keep doing it. Thank you for everyone who just sends nice messages. It's really appreciated. And when we're feeling a bit low and down, as you tend to get these days with the way of the world, someone comes back and says that made laugh, lol, smiley face, makes it worth it.
Thank you, Tim. You've been
a pleasure,
brilliant
guys.
Sport, mate. Brilliant sport, and we'll have you back on.
Fantastic.
And,
fingers crossed. We'll try and sort Keith out next time. As I say, so fingers crossed. I've not heard anything. I can hear the distant sound of a siren. That might be him on the way.
That might be him in his ice cream truck, maybe.
Yeah, which is fine. He's not going to sell any going that speed.
You'll have to meet V-Bert at some point as well, but that'll be for another day.
Right, fantastic. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. Keep flying the flag for all this sort of stuff. And we will talk again. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, everyone in the comments. It's been thoroughly nice to not meet you, but to see the ramblings you come up with. And follow us at CFAU, even though you probably all do. And that's CEEFAUX, which really irritates me to have to spell it out every single time. Fantastic. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again to Tim for being a guest on our Sofa Club and on the Bite High No Limit podcast. I hope you enjoy listening to these podcasts as much as I do enjoy making them. Remember, if you feel that way inclined, you can like or rate the podcast wherever you get it from. You can also support the podcast by buying me a Ko-fi at kofi.com/bitehigh. Any proceeds will go towards the running costs of hosting the podcast on Podbean and any promotional material. Thank you to Meatlotion and drnovocalcords for supporting me on Ko-fi so far. It's been much appreciated. Teletext People has been presented by me, Carl Attrell, and Dan Farrimond, and is a Bite High No Limit production. Until next time, keep it blocky.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.